Hi Sounders, no game this week, but plenty of chat. So I thought I'd wander through some of that with you for a few minutes to take on, I suppose, the Pompey pessimists. Are you an optimist or a pessimist? Personally, I don't understand pessimists. There's no future in pessimism, is there? That's the point of it. Whoa. We might as well all go home, lock the door, sit down, face the wall, put our fingers in our ears and close our eyes. That's what pessimism is, isn't it? Pessimism is quite difficult to say. Give in, give up, or go home. I cannot see the point of all that. So, let's examine some Pompey pessimism. Of course, I understand it's prompted by such a terrible run of form. Pompey have had a terrible 3 weeks, followed by this international break, in which, of course, all the moaning has festered like some untreatable, ever-growing, larger war wound that started a pile-on of pretty much all and sundry of our summer signings. After a Pompey fan wrote on Twitter, and I quote, "Can't think of one signing to make us better this summer." Wow, that set them off. It only needs a little excuse, and before you know it, there are actually fans claiming that Hayden, Bramall, Sadie, Ritchie, Silvera, and, would you believe it, dear old Owen Moxon and the boy from Brighton, Marnie, were better than signings made this summer. It's the definition of madness, Sounders. Although I have to admit, actually, Cohen Bramall would be wonderful to have in the building at the moment. I know that. But not long term, surely. We don't want those guys back. Most of them aren't getting a regular game wherever they've gone. What can't be dismissed is that for one reason or another, we haven't yet seen the best of many of our summer signings. And that's not true of Josh Knight, although he hasn't guaranteed himself automatic selection. He has shown himself a reasonable and solid purchase, I would argue. It's not true either of Adrian Segacic, who could obviously settle into the Championship when he gets fit. The jury, us Sounders, are probably still out on LaRue and Kosnowski and their abilities to fit in at Pompey in the manner John Mousinho needs and wants. But footballers usually need time, and I mean a season really, at a club to settle in. And the way things are developing at Fratton this season, that time might not be available to them. Joe Bursick, by contrast, has had a fine start in his Pompey career. Indeed, as the successful incumbent of the keeper's, or holder, that's a better word, of the keeper's jersey, it might be difficult for John Mousinho to drop him for Schmidt, now that the big man's, by all accounts, fit to continue his success at Pompey. It would be harsh to call Min Ayuk's loan at Pompey a failure thus far. John Swift, has done okay, although more will be expected and required, which leaves us with Mackenzie Kirk, who's quite obviously one for the future, and Franco Ume, whose name I still don't know Sounders, how to pronounce it, because we've not seen one moment of him. I've not heard anyone talking about him. But we're all looking forward to when we do. Except for the pessimists who probably have made up their minds already. There are, Sounders, 2 or 3 phrases I believe John Mousinho and Rich Hughes might avoid because they're very unpopular with the critics. Unlocking gems is one such phrase. I interpret that as the vital policy of finding young, unexploited talent which can be nurtured and nursed into successful footballers at Fratton Park. A process that some blokes consider a namby-pamby, woke and effeminate waste of time, because if they're not big enough and hard enough, they don't want anyone who needs nursing through the doors of Fratton Park. This, despite the fact that all our closest rivals in football are making money to reinvest in playing staff by doing that thing, developing and selling young players on for a profit. It's as simple and obvious a business model as that. Simple and obvious. But no one claims it's easy. And we have to find a way to do it. And I believe, because I'm an optimist, that we will. But I have to add this, by the way, that takes Sounders time. That's why the other 2 words or phrases Mousinho and Hughes should avoid are projects, and there's no rush with them. We understand certain players are within these definitions, but for God's sake, don't name them, don't go on about them, because it doesn't go down well. Because we worry. All of us worry. And pessimists panic. And it's not pretty. So, Sounders, no apologies if I finish with a bit of optimism before Saturday. We might, if we're lucky, have Lange and Segacic and Schmidt available for selection, or at least on the bench. Franco Ume, if I may say him again, may even get on the bench. And then there's Terry Devlin in particular, but also Kirk and Min Ayuk, who will be in and around the squad with some well-deserved international experience that they've just received this weekend, this past week or so, to bring to the Fratton party. They'll lift us. No gloom, no doom, positivity, and building a good future. I am, Sounders, a hostage to fortune, I know, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Time to grow some balls. Play up, Pompey.